And what's up, everybody? I'm back with another episode of the Live, Laugh, Laugh podcast, Season 4, Episode 29. Only have a few more episodes left of the 2025 season, but it's pretty good. So we roll on and now into September. Happy September, ladies and gentlemen. As you might be able to tell, Garry's not here. I don't know where Garry is. He was ready to go, and then I got on and he was inactive, and I told him and I gave him time, and I don't know where he is. Garry's gone for now, but leaving it open for him to return and make an appearance if he so pleases. So I am tired, and I gotta get this done and uploaded so that I can do other shit and get to bed. So, oh my god, he showed up.
Hello.
Garry's not dead.
Yes, I am not dead.
He looks like who the fuck is his name?
What do you mean?
Whatever. Garry's here. Hi, it's Garry. Garry, you made it. Yay.
Yes.
Okay, whatever. Darlington and Portland are in the books. We've got a lot to go over for the Truck and Cup Series playoff grid, as well as the Xfinity Series getting ready to start their playoffs. Got a lot to talk about in that regard. Not a whole lot of silly season news. And then, of course, at the end, we will preview this weekend's action at Gateway. So, pretty cool stuff. We'll start with the Truck Series in Darlington. This race was very boring, and the reason why it was so boring is because nobody knew how to take care of their tires. And so everybody got super scared early on and just didn't race each other at all. And every time somebody did try to race each other, they blew a tire almost immediately. Chandler Smith was the first example of this. He blew a tire early and wrecked himself out, hurting his playoff chances very significantly. Caden Honeycutt blew a tire as well in Stage 2. And Lane Riggs also going for the lead and having a really good shot to win the race, ended up blowing a tire in the third stage, pretty much taking him out of contention. Because there was a lot of damage done. Even though he got a nice caution break, he lost too much track position to have it do anything. Which opened up the door for the 8th time this season. Corey Heim wins. Whoa. Yeah, apparently he's still 1 win shy of... He's 2 wins shy, I guess, still of breaking the record for most wins in a Truck Series season, which is 9 by Greg Biffle when he won the championship in the trucks way back in the early 2000s. But this is win number 8 for Corey Heim. He wins. He's advancing to the second round. I mean, he was going to fucking points his way in if he didn't win. I mean, come on. It's Corey Heim. But yeah, everybody in the Truck Series playing scared at Darlington, which sucked. The restarts weren't even that exciting. And bad day for some playoff drivers too, which wasn't great. But then we'll head out west for the Xfinity race. They were in Portland. Also not a very crazy race up until the end. We'll get to that. The first stage ended a little weird though. Matt DiBenedetto lost the motor on the last lap of stage 1, which then brought out a caution. And then as they were ending the first stage, he ended up climbing out of his car and taking his shoe off. Now, it seems like what came to be is that the car caught fire. And he pretty much burnt his foot, which is really scary. Thankfully, he's okay. Nothing crazy came out of that. He's fine. But that's a scary situation if your foot caught on fire. And, so that was the end of his day, obviously. And then Sheldon Creed lost a tire late. And then the real action picked up after Anthony Alfredo stalled in the middle of the track late in the race, which caused a caution and set up overtime. Well, actually, no, it set up a late restart, which then this restart caused overtime. But it was a pretty wild restart. William Sawalich pretty much just said fuck it and Hail Melloned it into the first turn and took out Justin Allgaier, who was going for the Xfinity Series regular season championship. So he's pretty much done with that now because he got spun out in this and ended up falling to the back. Connor Zilisch also, after dominating the entire race, sustained damage, which looked to potentially take him out of contention, as Austin Hill was put up front. But then they got another chance when Sergio Perez ended up stalling on the track, which after spinning, or no, Blaine Perkins went around spinning and then stalled in the dirt, and which caused another restart, and we go into overtime. And Connor Zilisch was able to outduel Austin Hill here and capitalize on the craziness of another restart, to then steal the lead back and ended up winning the race in overtime. So Connor Zilisch wins again. No real major shakeups for the Xfinity playoff grid outside of the regular season championship, because that's pretty much going to Connor Zilisch now. Don't think there's a way that Justin Allgaier can win it unless Zilisch just like fucking craps the bed in his last couple of races. I don't think that's going to happen. So, pretty boring race at Portland. There was rain that affected it a little bit, but good finish, and it's really all you can hope for. You know, end on a strong note. So, but then we get to the Cup race, and what a crazy start to this race it was. On the very first turn, Josh Berry, he qualified third, and you might think, oh, he might have a good run coming in today. No. He forgot how to drive and spun out on the first lap. Almost took out Tyler Reddick in the process, which that would have been an absolute killer for him. Kyle Busch went around, and a few others got banged up in it, but Josh Berry was the major casualty in this crash, as his day was done. But he got the Xfinity fastest lap, folks. He got a point. How many races is that now where the guy who finished dead last because of a crash gets the fastest lap? Definitely not illegally modifying the car in the garage to get that fastest lap.
Right.
Things calmed down for a while after that. Carson Hocevar was doing Carson Hocevar type things, and he got burnt on that in stage 2, went around for a spin. Cody Ware spun shortly after that, which then caused another restart, which saw Ryan Blaney go spinning. They were all able to continue, though. And then Kraus in the 44 car caught fire. Thankfully, he was okay, just like Matt DiBenedetto was, thankfully. But other than that, wasn't anything super crazy. Chase Briscoe started on the front row and dominated the entire night. Held off a late charge from Tyler Reddick to win the race and advance. Yes, Chase Briscoe has gone back-to-back in the night at the Southern 500, which is pretty fucking cool. Doing what Martin Truex Jr. used to do, kind of esque ways. Pulling off the win. He deserved it, too. It was dominant fashion. He swept the stages and won the race, which is cool. Really, really cool. I was happy for it because I got another fantasy win. Win number 5, baby, and we might not be in the fantasy playoffs, but we still are fighting for a significant amount of money, and this was a really good start to that. So, about as perfect of a start as you could get. I loved it. But I also felt really good for Chase Briscoe. You know, I would have liked to see Tyler Reddick win just because he's not in the New Year's Eve Spectacular yet, and I want him to be in it. But it was a good points day for Reddick, at least. Nobody else really had any major troubles outside of Alex Bowman because his pit crew just had no clue what they were doing, and they were way off the pace. Chase Elliott had a okay day.
Yeah.
Shane Van Gisbergen came in with a 16-point advantage. I think he came out with like a 1-point lead or maybe a 1-point deficit. I don't know. I mean, other than Josh Berry, there wasn't. Other than Josh Berry and Alex Bowman, there wasn't any massive losers in it all. But let's look at the numbers, shall we? So we'll pull up the playoff standings for everybody now. Post Darlington / Portland. Gotta say, I mean, if you couldn't tell this was a pretty fairly boring weekend. The Darlington surface is just too rough for any good racing, especially with how these tires are. So it all came down to pit strategy, which is still cool to see. There are a lot of different strategies that played out here. It was classic Darlington, you know. I didn't expect the big crashes or anything like that, but I would have liked to see some more exciting restarts, and we didn't get that in either truck or cup, which was annoying. Portland did capitalize on a good finish, so I have to give it credit for that. But leaving the weekend, here's the Truck Series standings after their first race of the playoffs. Caden Honeycutt, after that spin midway through the race, he is just 7 points below the cut line. And Chandler Smith, after crashing out early in the race, his big lead is gone. He is now 2 points below the cut line as well. So that's a big loss there for Chandler Smith. So that catapults Jake Garcia into the next round, currently 2 points above the cut line. Rajah Caruth, 4 points above the cut line. Ty Majeski is 16 points above the cut line. Tyler Ankrum, 22 points above the cut line. Grant Infingers, plus 30. Daniel Hemrick is plus 33. And even with the late tire failure, Lane Riggs still had a good points day. He is 38 above the cut line. And, of course, Corey Heim is locked in to the next round with the win. The Xfinity picture, as they move closer to their cutoff race. Again, Connor Zilich, Justin Allgaier, Austin Hill, Sam Mayer, Jesse Love, Brandon Jones, Sammy Smith, Nick Sanchez all locked in on wins. Carson Quapple, 131 points above the cut line in 9th. Sheldon Creed, plus 65 in 10th. Taylor Gray, plus 60 in 11th. And Harrison Burton, still plus 31 in 12th. Jeb Burton, minus 31 in 13th. Again, is the only driver that can points his way in that's not already in. Everybody else, Ryan C., Christian Eckes, Dean Thompson, everybody else on down, do need to win in order to advance, in order to get in. And then the Cup Series standings, obviously Chase Briscoe locked into the next round with his win. Denny Hamlin, plus 43 on the cut line. Kyle Larson, plus 38. Tyler Reddick, again, after a really good points day, sits plus 35. Bubba Wallace, plus 25. He had a pretty decent day going as well. William Byron was just okay. He's also plus 25. Ryan Blaney, plus 22 despite the spin. Ross Chastain, plus 21. Austin Cindric had a good day going, plus 12. Christopher Bell, plus 11. Chase Elliott, plus 9. Shane Van Gisbergen, plus 3. Those are the drivers above the cut line. Joey Logano is the first driver below the cut line, minus 3 coming out of Darlington. He did not have a good day. Austin Dillon, up and down day for him, -8. And then Alex Bowman and Josh Berry, both -19 coming out of Darlington. So they are in pretty desperate situations going into this weekend. But that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. So that is that. Don't really have much else to say regarding the weekend. Again, it was not great, not terrible, but not great either. But some good winners at the end of the day. So, except for Corey Heim. Just go to Cup already, buddy. That's what I gotta say. Gary, I don't know if you got anything else to say regarding the weekend or not.
I mean, Corey Heim, like you said, just needs to go to pro. I mean, he's just going to win multiple truck races. It doesn't even matter if he goes to the Xfinity Series.
Good thing he's going to be going into Cup next season, but he should just go there now. My thought process. Alright, with that in mind, that is it for Portland and Darlington, so we'll put it in the books. I only have one piece of news coming from the week. It was not very heavy on news this week, but it's more drama with the 2311 Front Row Motorsports lawsuit. A judge ruled. Gary, can you shut up? Thank you. Judge ruled.
My apologies. I was doing that.
A judge denied the 2311 Front Row Motorsports motion for preliminary injunction with NASCAR, saying it will leave 6 charters available. So if that is a remedy as a result of the trial, they are available. Therefore, there's no irreplaceable harm. Basically, these teams are going to be running as open charters for the remainder of the season, but they're going to leave charters open for potentially bringing them back in 2026, but there's still not a very concrete ruling. It really just feels like they're going in circles with this, and they really don't. Just a bunch of the same stuff happening all the time, which is just fine, I guess. I don't know. It's just getting old at this point. I would just like for there to be something done about this, and there isn't. And it's just really fucking. It's just getting annoying at this point. I don't know. It's a huge deal. Makes sense though. I mean, this is a huge deal for these teams, so I guess it makes sense, but I don't know. Not a fan is what I'd say, but that's basically what's gonna happen with that. Gary, I don't know if you have any other news for the week before we get to our predictions.
No, there's really nothing on the schedule for stuff other than
we've gotten some more
racing.
looks at NASCAR 25. That game is coming out in a little over a month. Unfortunately, I will not be getting it at launch. I think I said this before. I'm not getting it at launch because there is no PC release at launch. So, and they're not releasing a Switch 2 version. Even though I will have a Switch 2 at the time of that game coming out, I will not be able to buy it on there either, which is very frustrating. But I'll get it eventually, guys. We got time. We'll see what the hell happens. But we count down the days. Literally a month and 10 days till it comes out. So, but with that in mind, we'll move on to this weekend's action. We're heading to Gateway, or as it's called, I think it's called, what, Echo Park Motorsports Park or some bullshit like that. I don't know what the fuck it's called.
No, that's Atlanta.
Worldwide Technology Raceway. That's what it's called. I call it Gateway. That's the based. That's the based one. Truck Series is off this weekend. It is the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series this weekend. Xfinity Series has a night race too. That's kind of cool, actually. But this is the cutoff race for the Xfinity Series playoffs. So if anything is going to happen, gotta make it happen now. So that'll be kind of fun to watch. See who's going to be in and who's going to be out. Actually, I won't be watching that race, actually, because I'll be working. But that's okay. I'll watch the highlights later, as I have for most of the races this season. And then Cup Series as well, moving into their second race of the playoffs. Gateway, it's a flat track and it's a very fast track. A lot of drivers the last couple of years that they've been there have complained about brake problems. I mean, it's basically just a bigger Martinsville, which means a lot of straining on the brake pads. I am interested to see how it moving from a June date to a September date changes that. It's still going to be hot. It's early September in St. Louis. It's going to be hot. But will it be not as hot, which will cause less stress on the brake pads? Or on the brakes themselves even. I am very interested to see how that happens. Last year's race came down to a fuel mileage finish as well. Will that be the case here? Will we get an upset winner like we did last year? Who knows? It all is left to be very much desired, but let it be known that there's lots of drama on the track and off the track in the courthouse, and that all can be settled right then and there in St. Louis, Missouri. What a great place to settle it. It's in the Xfinity Series regular season, and right under the fucking Gateway Arch. That's what I say. So anyways, who do we think is going to win Xfinity?
For Xfinity, I'm going to go with Sammy Smith.
I'm going to pick him again because I like picking him every fucking week, even though he's not going to do it. But I'm going to pick Ryan Seek to pull off his first ever win and to spoil the party for the playoffs. That would mean kicking Mr. Cutie Patootie Harrison Burton out of the playoffs, but that's okay.
You really don't like the Burtons, do you?
No. Harrison Burton's fine. I just don't like Jeff Burton. Ward Burton's fine, too. I just don't like
What about Jeff?
Jeb Burton's fine. Jeb Burton could point his way in still, barring Harrison Burton has any problems. Now that would be a crazy finish if it came down to like just a couple of points between Harrison Burton and Jeb Burton at the end of the race. I think that would be kind of cool.
Aren't they like brothers?
No, they're like, I think uncle and brother. Jeb Burton is Jeff Burton's brother-in-law, or like stepbrother or something. I don't know. It's very it's weird.
All I know him for is the guy that ruined me in NASCAR Victory Edition. Like, literally, he wrecks me every single week.
I think that's a skill issue.
It's not a skill issue. It's just him being a dick.
All right, well, Since Gary's camera's not working.
I can still do it.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to trust that you actually say the correct one.
You're probably right.
Here we go. Here we go. Can't do it anymore.
You get Chase Elliott.
Woo, yeah, baby. Well, let's go. That's what I'm waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woohoo!
I will get Kyle Busch. All right. Well,
Didn't he win there? 2023, right?
yeah, but that was his last one.
Well, there's some good mojo, at least.
Yeah, for 2 years.
Not true. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Live, Laugh, Laugh podcast. I know it's a little bit shorter. It's not a whole lot of silly season news to talk about. But next week, we will have a good amount to talk about as we'll preview the Xfinity Series playoffs. We'll see what these standings look like for Cup and cover a bunch of other silly season news as we recap the craziness that's going to go down at Gateway this weekend. And we get ready for Bristol. So there we go. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Stay tuned for other much more amazing content. And until next time, see you guys later. Goodbye.